Hello guys, Diego from Code Orange here. So, I'm here in one of my favorite places in the world, which is this place called Cais das Colunas in Portuguese, or the Pillar Docks. It's just across the street from the Praça do Comércio here in Lisbon, Portugal. And this is one of my favorite places in the world, not only because it's a must-see if you're here in Lisbon, but because the song Before It Started to Rain was born here in October of 2013. And I wanted to shoot this video to kind of explain the story of that song a little bit, because it's a very special song for me. It's one of the songs that I wrote in like a transition phase in my life. And yeah, I'm back here and today is a very sunny day and it's about lunchtime now. So after this video, I'm probably gonna go have lunch. But back in 2013, when I was here, it was almost kind of sunset, nightfall, whatever. And it was October, it was beginning of October. And me and my friend Norman, who was together with me, we were just finishing or coming to the end of a kind of at least a 1 week long, but it was rather like, I think, 10 days road trip through the south of Portugal. So we started here in Lisbon, got the car and started driving all the way to the south of Portugal to Faro, and then we crossed the border to Spain. We went all the way to Gibraltar and even crossed with a ferry boat to Morocco. So again, that was pretty cool. And by the time we arrived back in Lisbon, we were coming back from that road trip, from like those 10 days of driving around and having fun and just seeing new places, having new experiences. And I was super excited. Not only like my first time in Morocco, but I also got to see Gibraltar, etc., etc. And something else, Norman allowed me to drive, which back then was kind of not self-explanatory or self-understanding. I used to have a Brazilian driver's license, but not a German one at that point in time. So, as someone who lives in Germany, I wasn't allowed to drive anymore in Germany with my Brazilian driver's license, but as a tourist in Portugal with a Brazilian pass, I could use my Brazilian driver's license to drive here and to drive in Spain as a tourist. So we explored that kind of small detail in the law, and when we rent the car for that trip, we put me as a second driver with my Brazilian driver's license back then. And I was actually able to drive during that trip, which of course made me also very happy. Especially that he trusted me to drive. Even I haven't driven a car for like ages. And he even slept next to me on the passenger seat while I was driving in the night in some kind of road somewhere in Spain. But so all in all, it was just an awesome trip, good times. And by the end, we arrived here on that sunset evening, beginning of October. It was clear that that trip was coming to an end, and I would go back to Germany the next day, go back to my regular life, the regular obligations and routine, right? So, and by the time we came here, even though during the day the sun was shining and everything was fine, but the time we came here, it was kind of sunset, and also the skies were starting to grow a bit darker and some wind started to go, and I knew, or everyone felt at that point in time, that rain was about to come. And because when I came here and I felt rain was about to come, it kind of put me in some kind of introspective mood where I started to reflect on life, and I was about to go back to Germany, and it just set me in some kind of mood. And that's the mood where the song was born, because that mood, again, Rain is for me, from several references that I have, being one of them for sure, Handful of Rain from Savatage. The night is growing dark, and your soul cries out for a handful of rain. So Rain kind of fits introspective mood for me, and that kind of settled the mood for the song, I guess, a little bit. And I don't know how, or I don't know if that was fully and truly so, but I kind of had the melody that keeps playing all throughout the song. Da 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 dum, dum 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 da 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 dum, dum 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 da 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 dum. That melody came to my mind, and it kind of sets like a repeat, and that's where it all started. So I started, okay, there's a melody in there, and that melody kind of fits the mood I feel right now, and that's where it all started basically. And then I just started looking around what kind of other references I have. One reference was the rain that was about to come. The other reference obviously was the fact that this thing I was in, this road trip, was coming to an end, and I would go back to Germany, to my life, which was in some ways, of course, not so interesting as being in a road trip in Portugal. And then I started looking for other references, right? And one obvious reference which I got was, of course, being in Lisbon and being at the docks, where you usually always have these seagulls everywhere, and they are here on top of the pillars over there, and by the steps. They sit on the steps with the rest of the people and just hang out. So I had that reference as well. So I captured that reference because there is also, from the Brazilian heavy metal band Angra, actually two songs. One song is called Lisbon, and it also has some kind of like a mood atmosphere. And when I thought about my melody, the da 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 dum 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 dum, I kind of said, okay, yeah, I'm in the same kind of mood as Lisbon from Angra. And the other song from Angra, which is of course Joyful Seagulls Roaming on the Shore, and I'm not sure, I think it's Rebirth. It's probably Rebirth. So I had kind of these references in my mind, and that's basically what kind of set the whole idea for the song. Of course, I did not write the final text of the song here, or the chords or anything else, because I didn't have a guitar on me, right? I was just here like watching the sea and the birds, and probably drinking something with Norman, and Norman was going around taking pictures for everything. And so what I actually did is I used my smartphone and the text block on my smartphone to just keep notes of this. And I think I used the voice recorder of my smartphone back then to record this melody, this da-da-da-dum, and went back to Germany with that, right? So with the references I had from the text, from the mood, from the things I saw here. And when I came back to Germany, semester started at the university. I was a student back then. And just to collect the whole context, in 2013, Code Orange was actually an acoustic band, basically. It's just Ellie singing, me on bass, and Rafi on the guitar. So we weren't doing much, at that point in time. We were just trying to recruit Mosey and Andrea to join the band because we wanted to play like metal and heavy again. But back then Code Orange was kind of on a slow flow. But at that point in time, I was also part of Sinister Icon, another band I founded in Ingolstadt with a few friends. And at that point in time, I was a part of Sinister Icon. And as you probably know, Sinister Icon was more into like more serious songs than Code Orange to a certain extent. So I said, okay, this song will probably fit very well into the Sinister Icon catalog. So I came back to Germany, and so first of all, the place where I finalized the lyrics and the singing melody of the song was the university. So I went back to university. It was semester start. There was not so much going on yet. So I was in some classes about whatever. And I just took back those notes and that audio recording that I had and say, okay, now I'll use this 50 minutes time and I will just write down the lyrics. And then all those references came forward, right? So in Lisbon by the docks, where birds and dreams are free to fly, the small notes to remind you how October felt like within before it started to rain, before it started to rain. So basically all those references came forward immediately, and I was able to complete the song text and complete the singing melody of the song, but I didn't have chords yet. So I went home and sat down at some point in time with my guitar in the evening. I of course spoke to my colleagues from the Sinister Icon band and said, hey, I think I have a new idea I would like to talk with you guys about. And then I sat at home with the guitar and tried to start figuring out some chords. The one thing that I think I didn't do at the university was to write the chorus. I had all this, like the melody and the strophes of the songs, but I didn't have the chorus. So I think I wrote the chorus at home with kind of a different melody, and then what my colleagues from the Sinister Icon band used to call the C part, which is a part that is not exactly the same as the regular strophe. So yeah, I wrote that as one at home. No, I had that one from the university as well. I said, okay, these guys are gonna want some kind of C part in the song, so I'm gonna write one. And then I used also a different reference, because at that point in time I was back in Germany and I wrote the C part in university during class. And the main reference that I had was a Theatre of Tragedy song that somewhere along the lines they say, one less candle left to burn before the darkness comes. And I always thought, I listened to Theatre of Tragedy a lot, and I always liked that particular sentence. It just sounds so powerful and so, I don't know. This sentence always stuck to me in my mind. So when I tried to write the C part, I said, okay, that sentence kind of also fits into the mood of the song and how the song tests have come about so far. And somehow I got this idea of this C part that ended up being in the song. Just one candle left to burn, 'cause the sun will never rise. Taste of revenge and anymore before it started to rain. So that's basically how the idea of the C part came about. And I wrote it at university, and then I came up with some chords, which obviously were not the final chords, but just some kind of ideas. This could be from an E to an, in German it's called an H. So yeah, I came up with some chords, and then of course I brought the song, everything I had, to my colleagues from the band Sinister Icon back then, and they were the ones that actually helped me to finish at least the first version of that song, which I'm not even sure if we managed to play it live with Sinister Icon. I know we worked on the song and we kind of came up with like a final thing, but I think before we could play it live, I quit basically Sinister Icon in 2014 and went back, or by that time Andre and Mosey had joined Code Orange, and then we kind of resumed the Code Orange project again as a metal band. And so by the time I left Sinister Icon, I kind of brought that song, or that song idea, with me again back to the Code Orange camp, and especially Mosey, who was the main songwriter for Code Orange at that time. So I presented him that idea and said, I would really like to do this song because I kind of worked on it with my Sinister Icon colleagues, but we never managed to play it. So can we try to do this together? So of course Mosey sat down with me, we took a look at the song, the current state of things, and we managed to finish it, right? So we made some small changes to the end. I think that final part with the double bass and the it all comes to an end, that came up already with Mosey and with the Code Orange guys. So basically that's how the song came to its final format, which of course happened. It's also important to remember is when I recorded the song, it was already 2018 basically, and I presented the song, the idea, everything I had to the guy who produced the record, which was Gus Monsanto, like a very famous singer, producer, songwriter, whatever. The guy is really like pro. So of course when I presented to him my material, he also gave his personal recommendation and touch in some of the melodies, right, to make it a little bit more interesting in some places. So actually for this particular song, not many melodies changed. The melody was kept 95% untouched what it originally was, but I remember he did change a little bit on the verse. The lines are drawn inside the machine, and then the second part would go, lines are drawn, which was an idea from Gus and not originally mine. And then in the end, of course, it all comes to an end. He kind of did different nuances, or suggested me to sing different nuances of that same sentence in the end, which sounds awesome. I mean, I of course, I'm not a super professional songwriter or singer or whatever, so for me I would just sing the same melody 4 times, exactly same notes, and he would just suggest this, do it a little bit different every time, it sounds more interesting. And I did that during the recording. So yeah, if you get to hear the final recording, which I hope you do at some point in time, you will see the end result of all of that story I just told you. And I guess that's it. I'm finishing for now. It's already 19 minutes long. I hope it's not boring. And yeah, cheers from me, from the Praça do Comércio, from the Cais das Colunas in Lisbon, Portugal. Take care.